here to talk to you about transparency of 2010. Rachel Crandall, a trans activist in Michigan, responded to community calls for a more positive and celebratory observance of trans identity. This was in response to the well-established Trans Day of Remembrance, which is observed each year on November 20th, and is a memorial to all people lost to transphobic violence each year. Trans Day of Remembrance is a somber event that is necessarily focused on death and loss. In 2010, Rachel Crandall supported the first ever Trans Day of Visibility, a counterpoint, and a celebration of the vibrant community among trans folks and their many accomplishments. Please join the Waterfall Empire, celebrating trans members.
Hi, everybody. This is Empress Monroe, and also known to some of you as Auntie Jill. I hope that you're all well. And this video is in response to Taylor's request that we submit some trans stories of this year's trans visibility. That's coming up, I believe, it's March the 1st, and around the corner. And I have decided to pick a certain trans story. The reason I picked this story is because it shows our brothers and sisters in a positive light, as many of our trans pioneers are not always shown in a positive light because it wasn't always a positive situation. So moving forward, it was the late 1970s, and I was hanging out in Montreal with a bunch of girls. I always hung out in the group that was sort of borderline on drag queens, trans women, colored people of color, people like myself. I was a street kid, and that was just the group I hung out. Many of us were club kids. There was a rumor circulating among our group that a person had been seen and was a model and was successfully passing as a model, as not in the gender she was born. And then we started to get her 8 by 10 black and white. They started to circulate among the same group. She was a stunning beauty. Again, rumor had it that she was from New York City and possibly involved with the House of Asia. All of that was not actually confirmed until I watched the program recently. So as time went on and life happens, I noticed that this person's career was skyrocketing. Was very successful in stage, very successful in movies, TV. A lot of her productions were Canadian productions because she is Canadian, or at least I believe she's Canadian. But she was working in the Canadian um, theater group for a long time. Her name is Sandra Caldwell. For years, I did not reveal to anyone when I saw her on TV, when I saw her in maybe a Netflix program or some other, platform of media. I would never reveal to anyone that I knew she was a person who was originally born in a different body. It just didn't seem appropriate. She was successful. She was a beautiful woman. It just never seemed appropriate. And then just recently, about 6 months ago, I sat down and watched the Netflix documentary called Disclosure. And she was on this program. And not only did she reveal herself and disclose herself, she filled in a lot of the blanks that I didn't know about her career. So if you get a chance, Google her. If you don't know who she is, her name is Sandra Caldwell. Beautiful, beautiful woman. If you get a chance to see the Netflix documentary called Disclosure, I highly recommend it. But for me, this was a story that leaves our trans brothers and sisters in a positive light. A very successful woman who had a very successful career. And, as time went on, decided that she would disclose her situation. And really, what she said in the documentary was she disclosed her situation because she wanted to um, move forward and possibly get a part. She was auditioning for a part, and it was a part of a transgender person. So there you go, Sandra Caldwell. Google her. Have a great day. Bye, everybody.
Hi, so welcome to the Waterfall Empire's Trans Day of Visibility. Woo! If you haven't guessed it, both me, Bryce, and Harper are trans, which is why we're talking about our lives. So there's that. Um, I am Monarch 23, the Penguin Monarch. If so, we have our nice flag. Just pretend the Christmas tree isn't there. It's a holiday tree. And you are.
I'm Harper. I am ICP Teigh 23. I'm trans feminine. My pronouns are she, her.
And I am transmasc, he, they. I identify as transmasc non-binary, but we'll get into that story later. You want to start your story or mine?
I can start. I actually didn't know that I was trans until I was 34 years old. I just kind of knew that I didn't feel right my entire life. When I was 34, I decided to try drag, and that was actually what cracked my egg. um, from that point on, I kind of went full sprint for the past 3 years, transitioning. It's uh, it's been a long road. I still have a long way to go, but I'm a much happier person now. Everyone knows that. Even family members who have been slow to come around, they even recognize that I am a happier person this way.
Um, my story starts at a younger age. I was, I actually have a friend who was in photography and film, and he created a video about my transition until I was in my early 20s. I came out when I was 19 as trans man at the time, um, because of a conference that I had gone to that people were drag kings, but they were also trans men. And I actually had words to my feelings for the past 18 and a half, 19 years. Um, at 19, well, even before then, I wouldn't wear dresses. I was very much a tomboy. But I would always say, never let my hair grow long to my mom. And she was like, oh, okay. Never let me cut my hair from long to short. And I think that was me trying to cover up my masculinity that I had and trying to fit into a role that I didn't fit into. When I was 19 and came out, my parents said they, completely support me. And my mom said that I came out as a Martian and she completely support me and be behind me and love me for that. So it just says that, joking around the way my family does, and that, no matter what, my parents are there to support me. I did take them a while to come around to the name because they didn't really like Bryce. They're like, "What is Bryce?" I'm like, "It's a name that I came up with. I like it. Leave me alone." I did have a couple names I went through first, for the first few months, but then when I came out to my parents, they had stuck with Bryce by then.
It's a
Um,
good name.
it is. It is. It's better than what was it? I think Thomas was one of them. That was one.
I went from my old name to Sam to Harper.
Yeah. So it's fun. You get to create your own names and everything. Yeah. It's a lot of money, but you get to create your own names. And then it took about 3 years to have a complete histo. I had already been on testosterone, and I did Lupron for a homo blocker for probably about a year or two before I had the histo. And then after the histo, I didn't have as much dysphoria. So I felt like having a monthly cycle was what my dysphoria mainly was, but I still had a chest. And I was very well endowed. Um, so in 2017, it was a good 8 years later, I finally had my chest surgery, and it's like it's just a complete different world and feeling, and it's just I feel like I can go around wearing clothes and not having to keep doing this to hide my chest. So, um, anything else you want to add before we get into questions?
Um, yeah, I did leave some things out. I've been on HRT, hormone replacement therapy, for about 2 years and 4 months now. Um, I would say that's made one of the biggest differences. I, in fact, I would say that saved my life. Um, I will say this: I did not embrace any feminine feelings growing up. In fact, I ran away from them as fast as I could. As Bryce knew me for a short time before, I was a very masculine man. I had a big beard and everything. Um, so it's been a pretty drastic change.
Mm. Mine wasn't as drastic, but I was able to grow facial hair before I even started hormones. I had a goatee before hormones. Didn't connect here, but I was able to have a goatee before hormones. My voice was already at tenor range when I'm in singing. So my voice was already deep enough where I was able to be passable. I use that term with quotes because passable is what society wants you to be. It's not what you are. And you don't have to be what other people want to be able to feel your true
I always joke that I barely passed this
self. um, what else? And then, as some of you who know me already know, I have actually started growing my hair out again. This time for charity because it's a lot to manage long hair, as you know, it's a lot
Yes,
to manage
yes,
long
it
hair.
is.
Um, but I've come to a full circle where I now can have long hair again and feel comfortable in myself and not have to worry about what I think about myself, and not only that, but what others think about me, because I'm more comfortable in myself and my own body.
And
Um,
that kind of illustrates where different people are at in different places with it. Like, I would love to have short hair, but I know right now that would bother me. As much as I joke about shaving my head, um, that would create a lot of disappointment. I know that. So it's just important to know yourself and your
that's why I keep
limits.
this longish, this longest and the shortest. Ish, I need a haircut, but it's fine. It's fine. Um, so Harper, what is what's one thing that you would change about your past to knowing now what you know about yourself?
That's a really hard question because um, I have an 11-year-old daughter now. I don't think I would really change much other than I would have come out when my daughter was actually younger. Um, I would, sometimes think about, oh yeah, I would start transitioning as soon as I could, but I know I wouldn't. I would miss my daughter. I would, and all the experiences I've had have made me who I
Mhm.
am. So that's definitely, uh, you know, something I wouldn't do is change the past so much. What I would do is I would tell myself to stop being afraid of who I am. Um, because even before I knew that I was trans, um, even other things about my personality, I was always afraid of who I was because of what other people might think. So that's one thing I would change.
Yeah. Well, I know about me. I probably would have tried to have come out sooner if I had known about it. If I was 19, I would have come out way younger. Like I have a niece who is a teenager. She's about to turn 14. And she's been out for about a year or two now. And if I was able to, and I knew back then that I'd be able to transition slow, as a teenager and not feel so depressed about who I was and sad and anxious about my life, then I would have changed it back then because, like Harper said, once you transition, you feel different. You feel like you have a more brighter sense of life because you're now who you feel like you should be. You are who you are.
Somebody brought up the topic of having um, a funeral for her old self. They were actually talking about a friend of theirs who had transitioned and unfortunately has passed away at this point. But that person didn't want to have a funeral for their old self, and I said I totally understand why, um, because I don't feel like um, the old me is dead. I feel like I am alive for the first time in my life. If that makes sense.
Mm, yeah, like I wouldn't change my past in the past that I have gone through. Like I was severely depressed as a teenager. I was in the psych ward. I self harmed because I didn't know what my depression was coming from. And then after I transitioned, all that, I was stopped hurting myself. I stopped having suicidal ideation. I stopped having all these other things. And it was because of being able to come out and be comfortable with myself and being my true self. Although I did kind of have like a not like a funeral, but like I did have a going away to my old name. So I actually have as a teenager you kind of have that thing where you need to have that switch to know where okay, so this is where my life kind of starts and begins. So I had a little tombstone which I have somewhere in my room that has my old name on it with my birthday and the day that I legally changed my name to Bryce, which was also the same day I started hormones.
Um, so I was wondering what trans day of disability means to you.
It means not being afraid of being who you are to me. It means being there for other trans people who may not be able to be as visible. It means being yourself and being aware of who you are inside and showing the world that on the outside what that is. How about you?
Um, I, I I would say it's a pretty important day for me. It's about showing the world who you are. Um, I've found that just being visible, just being me, not doing anything super important. I've had people come to me, tell me they admire me, tell me that just seeing my transition and seeing me being open about it has helped them be more confident. Um, I've had I've had other trans people come out to me because they saw that I'm living my life successfully as a trans person, um, and it's it's really touching to know that you've helped somebody, even if you didn't actually. It doesn't feel like you actually did anything yourself.
Mhm.
Um, just that's what's important about disability is people see us and we can and that in and of itself helps.
Yeah. Um, I think that's a good place to end. Um, Waterfall Bar, thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Tay Tay, you are an amazing individual, and I look up to you every day
Yes,
at what you accomplish. And just thank you for having this event.
thank you.
Take care. Bye from Connecticut.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Kade. I was ICP, or I am, or was ICP 25 of the Imperial Court of the Waterfall Empire. And I'm really thrilled that you all chose to tune in and join us today for this celebration of trans lives. Um, this day is very special to me because uh, coming out trans um, when I was just 17, just going on 18 years old, there wasn't a day like this. There wasn't the internet.
there were little or no safe spaces uh, for trans folks to go beyond queer spaces. And we've seen over the years those spaces have diminished greatly, especially in the city of Hamilton where I grew up, where we went from having 4 or 5 gay bars to zero to now we have a whole new space as well, which is super exciting, super exciting. This day is really an acknowledgement of trans lives and the impact we're making on society and culture. And we are everywhere. We're doctors, we're lawyers, actors, actresses, musicians, poets, athletes. Trans folk are coming out of the woodwork and making their mark in so many amazing ways. So today is a great celebration of that. You'll see later on, I've compiled a little slideshow of some fascinating trans folk for you to get to know and to meet. And I'm really excited for you to see that. This day is super important, especially right now. There is so much going on, especially in North America for trans folks, from bathroom bills to Florida's just mind-blowing "Don't Say Gay" law, to athletes performing, trans athletes performing in the Olympics and other places like that. Trans folk are under attack, so being visible now isn't just about a celebration or a comfort level. It's 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 a protest. It's a war. It's it's letting people know that we're here. We make valid accomplishments and achievements just like everybody else, and that we want a space too. So we're making our space. We're taking those spaces where traditionally we weren't welcome before, or we couldn't have gone. Um, it's also important because there are so many young trans kids out there who, if you look at the way society is now on paper, they should have a much easier time coming out and transitioning and receiving that love and support that is so desperately needed when a young person transitions. But then there are these laws and this fight, and J.K. Rowling. There's just so many things going on to try and diminish that and diminish the accomplishments that trans folks have made and the progress we've made as a society. Um, so a day like this is really important. It's it's really letting people know that we're here to stay in these spaces, and we don't owe you that comfort. We don't owe the hetero cis community any sort of comfort. At the very base level, most trans folks have not lived a comfortable life. We've had to stay in the closet and stay hidden for such a long time, especially people of my age or older, um, who, as I said earlier, did not have access to the safe spaces online and off that young folks do now. And now is the time where we don't owe you any comfort anymore. We're here. We're going to let you know we're here. We're going to let you know we're trans because it's okay to be trans. It is okay to be non-binary. It is okay to be any sort of gender non-conforming human being that you want to be. And you should be able to say that out loud and proud and be comfortable with that because it's a long time coming. It's been a long time. I think overall we're heading into a good place for trans folks, even though there are these wars that we still have to fight. Um, More and more provinces here in Canada are approving gender conforming surgeries. Gender confirming surgeries. Um, in the United States, things are getting a little better with healthcare. It's in North America, period. It's not where it should be, but it's better than it was. But it's still a war. We still have to keep fighting
and fighting and fighting. And that's where we need you, our cis friends, to stand up and stand beside us and fight with us. Um, we we can't do these things alone. We don't fully have the understanding and respect of society as a whole yet for our voices to be as valid as they should in these arguments. So you out there watching as an ally, as a cisgendered person, you have that opportunity to stand beside your trans friends and say, these people's lives are valid. What they are doing, who they are, everything about them is valid, and we stand with them. So I hope more of you out there will Google what you can do to be a better ally, how you can support your trans friends, educate yourself about what's going on with trans folk right now, and the battles we're still facing, and the war we're having to really be able to live our authentic lives. And I'm always here to reach out to you if you have any questions about anything. I've been blessed. Several members of my family have been working with different corporations who have chosen to acknowledge trans their disability, and they are working to make life better for their trans employees. So I've been blessed to be asked to sort of work with them to help bring things to their corporations and their employers and stuff like that. So I'm always willing and always able to answer any questions you have about being a better ally or anything. So I really hope that you walked away from this presentation tonight with a little more information, a little more understanding, um, and enjoyed celebrating trans lives with us and enjoyed the stories. So until we all see each other again, I love you very much. Take care and be safe.
Hello, my name's Jaime, also known as Papi Chulo. I am the Emperor 19 of the Imperial Sovereign Court of New Mexico, also the King Father. I'm joined by the Queen Mother, Nicole herself, also Emperor 3 of Indiana. Uh, yeah, so I am a trans man. That's how I identify, and my pronouns are he, him. And my coming out story, a little different. I'm pretty sure all my siblings have different ways that they came out and their stories. But mine was kind of a lonely one. I had was living in Detroit with my parents because that's where I'm from Michigan, um, and my parents had already kicked me out. Um, so I was going through all of that. Ended up somehow moving to Albuquerque, New Mexico, which will forever be my home. Um, I was living there. I was identifying as a lesbian because I didn't know what trans was. I never had anyone that I could look up to or towards to understand the feelings that I was feeling, to understand all the thoughts that I've ever had in my head make sense. I didn't have an outlet. I didn't have anyone to look towards. Uh, so one day, being in Mexico, my then girlfriend took me to a drag show, and I'm thinking, oh, drag queens, been there and done that. Um, but no, this was actually very different. It was a drag king show. Um, so there was a bunch of guys just performing, and I just thought this was insane. This was crazy. This is so cool. Like, how is this going on? Like, I didn't know that there was a scene for this. And it wasn't until then that my girlfriend was like, those are all women dressed as men performing. What? Like they can do that? Like they can do that, and nobody gets mad, nobody says anything. Like that's just insane. Um, Again, I'm old school. I'm first generation Mexican American, so I didn't have any kind of culture like that. My culture was very different. So I didn't have that kind of scene. I didn't have anything to reference. So anyway, I ended up becoming a part of that community in Albuquerque. I became an Albuquerque drag king, um, and being able to present as a male was life changing for me. it really did open my eyes. It made me understand who I was, how I felt. Not just that, but I found a group of guys who also had the same feeling that I did, and this was their form of expression. And I'm pretty sure a lot of my siblings, unfortunately, we've all gone through some type of drag of sorts just to be able to express ourselves, to be able to find our footing, find our community, find out what works, what doesn't work for us. Um, so being in that group really helped me out a lot because I really got to meet a lot of great guys and share tips and tricks and understand what transitioning is like and what that would be like. So I didn't go through it alone, thankfully. Um, One of my brothers, my trans brother, Nick, he and I started transitioning about the same time. He went through his surgery first, and I made sure that I was there for him and helped him, with his post care and stuff. Just 'cause again, it's scary, and we're going through it. So wanted to make sure he was there, and he's in a good headspace, and he was feeling supported. Um, so that was my first interaction ever again with any kind of trans people. I was living in Albuquerque and finding that community. So Um, luckily, like I said, I ended up transitioning alongside with my brother. We started testosterone at the same time. We started, he did his surgery first, and I did mine, things like that. Um, Insurance didn't help much back then. So I've only had top surgery now for maybe gosh, like 7 years maybe now. And I'm in my 40s. So I had to wait a long time. So um, uh, that's my story. What Trans Visibility Day means to me is to be visible out there because I don't want any other trans person, um, you know, non-binary, gender fluid, trans man, trans woman, any trans person that falls under the umbrella, um, to ever feel like they don't have somebody that they can relate to or connect to. I'm here. I'm always here. Uh, Available via Facebook anytime. Feel free to reach out. I'm happy to be of service to anyone and, just be a shoulder to cry on if you need it. I've gone through it. I used to bind with tape, duct tape and plastic because I thought that was the thing to do. I've gone through binders, I've gone through packers, I've gone through it all. So there's a million resources out there. I'm happy to share what I know. Um, but my main reason for doing this today is I want to make sure that you know that you are loved. You're not alone. There's a lot of us out here with you. Need us. Reach out.
And now for a segment we like to call Fabulous Folks to Follow. The following people are amazing examples of trans visibility within the community, and 6 individuals that I find really interesting, and I like to think that you will too. First up, we have Janet Mobb. Janet is an author, producer, writer, and her work was featured in the groundbreaking TV series O's. Janet has also modeled for various magazines and has been a TV correspondent throughout her career. Next up, we have MJ Michaela Rodriguez, known for her groundbreaking role in the TV show Pose. She is also a model and trans activist. She was the first trans actor to win a Golden Globe in a leading role, also the first trans actor nominated for a lead actor role at the Primetime Emmy Awards. Next up, she may look like a mild-mannered engineer from Oakland, California, but she is in fact Jeopardy champion Amy Schneider. Amy won 40 consecutive wins on this season of Jeopardy for a grand total of $1.3 million. She was the first trans contestant to qualify for the Tournament of Champions, and she has the show's second longest winning streak, right behind Ken Jennings with his winning streak of 74. Next up, we turn our attention to trans advocate, activist, actor, and musician Chaz Ono. Chaz is also the author of a book called The End of Innocence, his personal memoirs about coming out trans. As an actor, he has appeared in American Horror Story Roanoke and Cult, Curb Your Enthusiasm, and The Bold and the Beautiful, just to name a few. Also, perhaps, to many people, Chaz is best known as the son of Cher. Next up, we have Kade Gottlieb, makeup artist to the stars. Kade has worked with Cindy Crawford, Paris Hilton, and Adam Lambert, just to name a few. He is a model, but perhaps best known to a lot of you as drag performer Gottlieb. He was the first trans man to compete on RuPaul's Drag Race in season 13. And he has an impressive Instagram following of 1.4 million people. Look for him on Instagram under the handle @GotMick. And finally, we have athlete, advocate, public speaker, artist, and LGBTQ youth mentor, Kyle Alums. Kyle was the first openly trans NCAA Division College athlete. He also starred in the Laverne Cox documentary, The T Word. In 2015, Kyle was inducted into the National Gay and Lesbian Sports Hall of Fame. He is the author of a book called Who I Am, a collection of poems and letters he wrote about his parents and himself. I hope you enjoyed these amazing trans folks out there living their best life in our community, visible and proud. Hi, everybody. I just wanted to pop back on and thank you for sitting at home and joining us for this celebration of Trans Day of Visibility. I'd like to thank all our allies in the Waterfall for always being so supportive of their trans membership and really giving us the platform to tell our stories and to share a little bit of our lives with you. So until we see each other again, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the show and have a great night.